problem rather than being part of the problem. And if there's one in a day, you're trying to somehow try to decide at the back of your head, what will I wear today? That's why you're wearing this attire today. What time will you have to brush your teeth? I hope you did. What time will you have to go to sleep? I hope you slept well. This is also our talking point today, right? And of course, your relationship to others, your relationship to God is something very, very important. Okay, sleeping. No energy. Alright. 2, 1.
In Jesus.
Very good. So, there you go. Energy, I mentioned earlier on, it must be up. So if your energy is up, definitely your serotonin level is up. Serotonin is a happiness hormone. Later we'll talk about happiness hormones. What can we do? Which food can we take that would boost our energy, that would boost our hormones as well, okay? And that's very interesting fact. And fun. So because you don't see wherein they can be connected with you, right? So later on, I'll give you more insights on that note. Depression across by region, you will find across the world. Number 1, from 1990 to 2017, I don't have 18 and 19 yet, Oceania, from which you can find Australia, from the Caribbean, for example, and a lot more countries that are surrounded by water. And some of the countries in Central Asia, Central Europe, North America, wherein most of these countries by regions happen to be kind of gloomy. So studies would prove that countries that are exposed to gloomy weather happen to have more depression cases than those that are not. Why do you think so? The sharing for today, it's like your takeaway learning. Okay, so let's move into the results. Okay. So those who have debated online, definitely they have their results. Alright? Do it. There you go. So you may have, if you score it this way, you may have the characteristics. 0 to 9. 0 to 9. Baba worry. Alright. No depression likely. Isang bagsak. Isang clap. There you go. 10 to 17. 10 to 17. Most likely almost the same range as the first. Possible mild depression. Nothing to worry about yet. 18 to 21. 18 to 21. What mahiya?
10 to 17. 10. 10 to 17.
Only a few. Very good. One clap. There. I'm not clapping because you have the borderline depression, by the way. Alright. 22 to 35 range. 22 to 35. Okay. That's bigger than the borderline. You have mild to moderate. Okay, thank you. 36 to 53. 36 to 53. 1, 2, 5, 6. Thank you. One clap. I can't hear you. One clap. There you go. Last but not the least, 54 and above. Do we have 54 and above? Okay, 1, 2, 3. See me after the session, please. See me after the session. Alright. So, how are you today? I know, that's why I'm written there. We normally say I'm fine, but at the back of those smiles, will probably be something else. Alright? We don't know. Right? And again, as you respond to me, when you say fine, some of you may feel that you're devastated, you're frustrated, you're stressed out, you're withdrawn, you're rejected, among other descriptions we can offer, right? Of course, right now as we talk, some of you just put a camouflage on their face. This is cover up of what we feel, especially if you think that being not okay is a weakness. When well, in fact, it's not. Okay? It's part of human life, and it's part of everybody's struggle. Okay? Even the most famous people, even the most rich of all people experience depression or some sort of mental health issue. Okay? So according to World Health Organization, there is mental health as long as you have the balance of these three. Okay? One is related to our physical well-being. So for those who are engaged more on exercise these days, congratulations. Those who are not, I think you need to start doing it because later on you will know what the benefits of exercise could be. Other than you feeling good, what's going on, what's best to produce out of doing such action. Okay? We also have mental well-being. So if you're free from any mental illnesses, really diagnosed like depression, postpartum disorder for those who are married and who got kids already, women are kind of exposed to postpartum disorder. And some other mental illnesses, so we say if you're free from those, you are mentally healthy. And of course, we have social well-being. If you easily create relationships, long-term relationships, not just because you are needed to be together or you need to be in this kind of congregation or association, much more than that, you find meaning, you find purpose in what you do, I hope you do, then that means that you're on the right track. So, World Health Organization particularly mentions the balance of these three. Now in these three, essentially, psychologists, American Psychological Association, which is the mother of all organizations in psychology, even in the Philippines we have PAP, Psychological Association of the Philippines. Who are psych majors here? Wow, we have some few. Okay, nakakabaro. Alright, so there you go. So it says here that simultaneous success at working, who are working right now, currently? Almost all. Congratulations, because we're still in the area. You know what's happening, right? That's one of the sources of depression as well. Alright? We have loving and creating with a capacity for mature and flexible resolution of conflicts between instincts. So as I mentioned earlier, if you would want to be part of a problem that's most likely be more mentally healthy rather than being part of the solution rather than being part of the problem. Okay? So if you complain all the time, it's growing internally, organismic wise, there is such thing as illnesses that will be developed out of it too. Other than the mental aberrations, there's also such thing as, illnesses brought about by stress. You know this very well. Conscience, which is more on the ethics side, and important for other people and reality. So you always look into what would be best for you and for others. Okay, there's nothing you can give to others unless you have it. So if you're mentally healthy, it's so easy to support other people to the best that we can because we have it. And as much as you want other people to be helped out, if you don't have it may be skills, may be tangible things, then you won't be able to help out. Okay, so this is the reason why we have mental health awareness. Okay? There you go. So what's a mental illness? If we will reverse the definition, right, it's something that you will find in three aspects. One will be with our way of thinking. If you're always negative, then it will drown you to mental illness or illnesses. A lot of it, like maybe you have learned something about schizophrenia, which is the split personality, bipolar disorder, you have extreme emotions, morning you're so happy, afternoon you're so depressed that you want to kill yourself. So in one way over the other, it's your outlook that matters in here. Unfortunately, no matter how nurturing and positive our environment is, as I mentioned earlier, if you are exposed, if you happen to be a byproduct of one of the parents' negativity, so isa doon we come to inherit. So just like our physical features, could be a combination of our parents or one of those kind of dominant in aspect, we kind of have it too. Okay, so that's what it is. Feel or feeling. If you don't feel good, your face is the last thing you would want to see in the mirror. There's something wrong, right? So as I've said before, you appreciate other people, appreciate yourself first. If you don't want to see any mirror of some sort, because yourself is the last thing you would want to see in the day, we have a problem there, right? So that's how it is. And behaves. Some people smile all the time, but in terms of what they say, what they do, it's not kind of connected. It's not consistent. So you want to make sure that your interpersonal skills, since we are servants of the Lord, we're expected to really behave in a way that, we are more humane than other people as expected. If you have more heart for service, you have more heart for and passion for community engagement, for example. Okay? Alright, so in 2010, at 2008 particularly, I literally knocked into the office of our consulate to be able to offer services for our afflicted OFW. You may not entirely know what their cases are. Some of them have been pressed on with hard object in here. All of them happen to be females. Have you visited some of them, afflicted OFWs at the consulate? Good, some of you are nodding. And some of you have been my volunteers as well, in our counseling program. And it materialized solely because there was an opportunity given to us by the consulate at that time. So it's so disheartening to see how they look like. Some of them are even in the wheelchair. When you would probe, why are you in the wheelchair? They would normally say, I jumped from the 3rd floor of my building because I was being withheld by my employer for 2 weeks without any food, and I escaped. Some of them, during the time that there is an opportunity to jump in a car which is currently moving, you can see some bruises on the faces. Of course, the usual cases of harm, physical harm, rape particularly. These are just some of the common causes. And they need people like us and like you. In so many cases, I know some of you may have rendered prayers for them, have been doing prayer meeting for them. We have our own differentiated types of services for them. Okay? So the nature of depression is that it's one of the most common mental disorder that presents with depressed mood, loss of interest or pleasure. Later I'll discuss on the basics of the symptoms, but these are some of them. Feelings of guilt or low self-worth, disturbed sleep or appetite, low energy, and poor concentration, which is a byproduct of the result you got today. These are all reflected in the short test that you guys have taken. Okay, so these are just some of the signs, some of the major signs, but later we'll see how the diagnosis of mental health experts would be in terms of us visiting our own, seemingly like a Bible of categorizing who's mentally ill and who's not. Okay. So depression in psychology, or most frequently used in psychiatry and psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is the aid we're giving if in case some of you happen to be mentally ill or disturbed. So we have been doing psychotherapy for that matter. A period of unhappiness or low morale, which lasts, take note of this, longer than several weeks, and may include ideation of self-inflicted injury or suicide. Okay? Weeks ago, maybe you have also heard the case of a Filipina who jumped in the 24th floor of a certain building. And obviously, that has inflicted the loss of life for her. And she's not basically alone in this circumstance. We have a lot of cases. It was 12 o'clock midnight last year, almost at the same month, wherein the Consul General of our consulate called me because there were 2 circumstances of suicide. It was not just an attempt, it was triumphant. In a Philippine school, that I happened to be the psychologist for the school, part of my pro bono services. So what was surprising is that this boy and girl who was able to commit suicide, one hanged herself, the other one jumped into the building. And these are grade 10 students. What was disheartening is that in a session like this, from which there were about 110 students, I had 3 questions for the classmates of those students who had self-harm. Suicide nowadays is called self-harm, to mediate the impact of the negativity. Okay, so in a session like this, I asked 3 questions. One is, I mentioned, who has loving family? Then they have to stand up. It happened. They all stood up. And then I asked, who happened to be happy for their recent grades? Half of the people stood up. And the third question I had was, who wants to kill himself? Half of the 110 students rose up. The disheartening reality is that suicide nowadays is contagious. Nakakahawa to. And the reason why I'm saying this is that global studies have proven that if one thinks it's okay to end one's life that way, you don't have any problems now that will end up your suffering. That's the common perspective a person who's under depression would be, especially that you don't think rationally. Remember that someone who is depressed cannot really think of a most single positive way. All the thinking they have had at the back of the head happen to be negative. Okay, so later on I'll also show to you some of the most common thinking a depressed person would have. Okay? So again, there are a lot of forms of mental illnesses, but I would want to concentrate on depression because it's the #1 ranked mental illness in the world. Okay? So one of the celebrities of 2007 who committed suicide, Owen Wilson. So the emphasis here is that it's across age, it's across nationality, it's across demographics. It doesn't even touch race, although there are clinical findings that most likely those depressed areas that are economically impoverished would have more incidents of suicide. It's not also an excuse to say that only those who are poor would be exposed to this. Okay? And a lot more personalities. Gwyneth Paltrow would be one who had postpartum depression. Even Oprah had eating disorder. You know? Alright, and a lot more. Angelina Jolie is one of them. Right? And, sorry, apologies. Let me go through the... Alright, there you go. And Robin Williams, it was triumphant in this aspect of self-harm. And who would know that some people who are well off would also have, this opportunity to even entertain and end up their life that easily. Alright, so there you go. So mental illness must be recognized as a thing. It's okay not to be okay, but of course we need to address the issue as it is. And awareness is the first step. Right? Unfortunately, those who are depressed do not have any awareness. And even if some people would tell them so, it will be quite difficult for them to internalize that. Okay, so the good thing is that spirituality can be one good gauge towards the realization that we need to really recognize that's the first single step before we act on something else. Okay? I have spoken to one person in a bank, needless to say what the bank locally is here in the UAE. She's a Filipina, very high in position, Vice President for Operations. She had this incarceration of the breast. There was an opportunity to take out the breast due to cancer, and that has prompted her to have depression for a long period of time. You know what she said in one of the sessions where she was attending my session? She said, I was trying to pray to the Holy God, but I think what I was mentioning was just purely an utterance of the tongue. She can't feel what she was saying because it's one of the indications that you're really depressed. You have this numbness to to the point that maybe even if you are pinched, you won't feel anything. You know, so it's one thing that is in there. So she said, you know what has changed my mindset? So when I pray, it's something I felt that the Holy Spirit is coming into me. Because there was this circumstances wherein my mom, when I was really that young, before I go to sleep, would normally say, the good Lord is there, call His name, and His divine intervention will be unto you. That was a single circumstance that she remembered in one of her prayers, because in the previous class she was praying and it seems that nothing is happening. So there must be a trigger that would give you a spark of hope and a spark of difference to make things happen. Alright? And that's one of those. So mental illness is real and they're very much present. And we need to talk about it solely because we can do something about it. The more you don't talk about it, the more you are secluding yourself, the more you're covering it up. Before you know it, it's already escalating from borderline to the most height level like some of you would have. Okay? In today's activity particularly. By the way, when I say one, this group just say in Jesus. One. In Jesus. One. In Jesus. Very good. You have the energy. Energy is also an indication that you are far away from mental illness. Alright? When I say two, we pray. Two. We pray. Two. We pray. One. In Jesus. Three. The one is mentally ill. Okay, there it is. Okay, there you go. Okay, so depression is a T. T-H-I-E-F. Why is it so? It takes away your time solely because you cannot really function. At work, there must be a problem. Later on, we'll discuss about workaholism as a disease. And this is something that has been published also throughout time. It's scientifically proven. So those of you who opens your office that early, and you're also the one closing it, there must be something wrong with you. Work is always work. And our company will not care enough with our well-being if we are sick, isn't it? Yes. You need to care for your health, right? Yes. So I say one. Jesus. Two. We pray. Very good. Okay, so it's a theme. So if your health suffers, obviously, intimacy-wise, your relationship with other people suffers, and even your relationship with yourself. There is such thing as intra and interpersonal relationship. Interpersonal relationship, you talk to yourself every day. Just don't make it too loud when you're alone. Some people might hear you and they might say, you must be the first prospect as a person who's mentally ill.
So one of the C's you can find here is catch. If you're not aware that these symptoms are with you or with somebody else or with those people whom you care about, and even with those people whom you don't care about, but you can be a blessing to them, that's one way to do it. Catch the symptoms, and from there you can proceed with the C. Check. Try to revisit some of the sites or online sources. There are some people who you can talk to. There's this organization I've established within the UAE. We call it Psychological Society of the Philippines. You can check on that on Facebook. It's also the organization I have to go to in Abu Dhabi by today because we produced some psychologists in the most recent board exam, and I have to be there also in the afternoon. So check, right, the veracity of your observation, and C is change. How can you do this? By escalating it to somebody who can handle the case, which again, you're not expert. There are some people who can help out in this case, and modifying the behavior, the way of thinking, the way they see themselves could be an aid when you channel it to the right person. Okay? Take a look. Ito na tayo. Kumain ng banana. Mura na. Serotonin booster pa. Okay? Right? Again, serotonin is a happiness hormone released during daytime. Right? Okay, what else? Spend time with nature. Travel. Right? Especially if the view that you're seeing is a combination of nature, the green thing, plus splurging waterfalls or oceanic in view, these complement the travel that you have. Okay? Sabi pa nga ng experts na regenerate yung mga neurons natin na halos namamatay na. Okay? What else? Well, smile all the time and you lose happiness hormones. It's just like suicide. Smiling is contagious. So might as well smile rather than spread negativity, right? Alright. Take a look. Water. To lessen your stress. Take more. Green smoothie. Energy booster. Almonds. Walking. It clears your mind and boosts your serotonin or any form of exercise. Okay? Dark chocolate. Dopamine. So your concentration is kind of blurred or lost. You also have problems with mood. Take this. Right? Almonds is also there. Banana hindi nawawala. Apple is there. Strawberries. Okay? There's also what we eat. Pumpkin seeds, other than it's a cure for cancer now, scientifically, it's also something very important for happiness. 2. We pray. Hindi na maganda. 2. We pray. 1. In Jesus. Very good. Alright, there you go. And some more. Salmon. Salmon is also part of a very good intake. Eggs. We eat every day, right? Egg carb. Alright, enter into the world. Sino po mga anak dito? Family, with kids. Okay, very good. Okay, only a few. We say if we can't get them, join them. They're now into technologies. Look into what they're viewing because it's so important to technology, monitoring the use of technology. It helps. Let's enter into their world. Take a look. This is me the other week. I was 93 kilos 8 months ago. I decided to go on a regular exercise diet. Diet is 17% of the time. 30% is just exercise. Right? I need to walk the talk. Right? Para kung buntis 8 months ago. Like wearing 8 months old, fetus. Alright, I know I still need to do a lot, but it's a breakthrough for me, knowing that even walking for 5 minutes is something I hate doing 8 months ago. Right? Of course now I'm doing weightlifting and all that. It's so important to be fit. By the way, I mentioned sleep well. Again, other than the fact that your happiness hormones are blocked, it enables you to eat very, very in big size. Because your metabolism slows down when you don't sleep that well, and you feel like you need to eat a lot. That gives you a bloated feeling, that gives you this opportunity to eat a lot. Okay? I mentioned already caring for somebody else, supporting somebody else. Listen without judging a person. Somebody will approach you. Validate feelings. If you see that this person really has it, motivate me, consult an expert. There's so much we can do. There's still hope in here. Okay? What else? Consider consulting psychologists. Huwag mo naman psychiatrist. Kasi there's a big difference between these two. Ang psychiatrist, bibigyan ka agad ng medication. The psychiatrist will just scan, will see, okay, there's a part of your brain that is kind of suffering. It can be diagnosed through your MRI. But a psychologist will look into behaviorally what are the traces, if there's something we can do before we do pharmacological solution to your problem. So we have psychotherapy. What else? We have to unplug. It's so important. This is one way or the other looking into the use of technology, mediating the use of technology. Okay? And communicate. Pray. 2. Pray. 1. In Jesus. Very good. Entirely. So this is what will be given to you later. It's like my takeaway for today. So 31 days, or there's such as 30 days. It's like your happiness commitment on a daily basis. 1, you will find here, swap your normal cup of coffee for decaf. Reducing caffeine intake supports sleep. There's this tip on a daily basis. If you just want to help yourself and other people, spread the good news. feel free to add me up. Nowadays, there's no barrier between people. Our world happens to be small. So why not? If you can consult with some expert, not just me. I can also bridge you hook you up with, help you out with some of the people who can, or some people who can help you out with your issues. Okay? And the last one you can find here, number 31. Laugh at some of life's hassles. Filipinos are good at this. You know? It's not just enough to laugh at our mistakes, but to also find joy in what we do. We learn from those mistakes anyway, right? Alright, very good. So this picture 31 days happiness challenge. Right? So since we don't have much time, I normally run sessions like this for 2.5 to 3 hours. You know, my time is up. So this is just your takeaway. So as I utter the words here, please join me. Alright? So follow me. Life is hard, but God provides.
Life is hard, but God provides.
Life is unpredictable, but God guides.
Life is unpredictable, but God guides.
Life is unfair, but God cares.
Life is unfair, but God cares.
Life is always a challenge, but God sustains.
Life is always a challenge, but God sustains.
Let's live it up to the Lord.
Let's live it up to the Lord.
Amen?
Amen.